Good morning to one and all present here. I am Vidit Prabhu and I welcome you all to the second day of the technical poster designing workshop. So, yesterday we had ended on this particular slide. So, today we are going to be seeing some examples as well for these particular things which we'll be discussing. So, uh, the bits of a poster that you see here is made by some of our current seniors, and this team had won a project exhibition competition called Innovex in our college DBIT, wherein you present your final project idea. One of the critical aspects of their win was the apt amount of knowledge that they had presented in a form of content. They had put this in a poster in a very effective way, and here we'll be looking at some of it. Firstly, to begin with, the title here is clearly seen since it has legible font and largest font size. The colors used are also bright, and secondly, you can see that their abstract is well written. It is not too big, not too small, just enough to summarize the contents, and even easy sentences are used. The image that you see below, which has the heading as background information, is actually nothing but introduction, and you can clearly see that the introduction has a relevant reason for why the poster was made. It also has some objectives, and it also has an image at the bottom to depict their working. And also, one thing I would like to point out here is that the headings have a much larger font size than the actual content, so they can be highlighted. Uh, so that's all about it here. Then moving on to the next point, that is purpose and hypothesis. Purpose and hypothesis is generally mentioned within the introduction, but if your introduction becomes too long in some case, you can consider this as a separate paragraph. And now, what is purpose? So, purpose is similar to aim. It consists of all objectives of a poster, which means that all key points are presented in your poster. It basically states what all key points are there in your poster, and hypotheses are inferences. So, they are conclusions which you make actually before performing an experiment or study. Like, you assume what your result will be, there will be some assumptions based on your prior knowledge. And hypothesis is something that can be mentioned in a research poster, but it should be relevant to your result. Your final result and hypothesis cannot be in two separate directions. And yeah, so moving on to methods and results. Methods are nothing but a general description of your procedure. That how the research or study is conducted. They include all the incoming challenges and solutions for it. It is better to add a flowchart in methods, since methods are generally long and can be complex and boring to read. And the reason why a flowchart is particularly used is because you can use your space effectively. It makes your poster more appealing and organized, and you can easily incorporate keywords, so there is no need to write long sentences, and also you can use your space effectively here. Then, so that's all about methods. Now comes results. This is one of the most vital, critical, and largest section of your poster, since it contains all the findings of your study. All the data that you find is presented here. This is where you find maximum number of graphs and figures. Uh, and if you use any particular figure, for example, or any image, you can add a small text next to it or below it to specify what it exactly means. And now, so why am I stressing so much on results? This is because results are not only for a single time use or for immediate attention. Your results are reviewed and verified by your fellow peers as well, and this also helps them in concluding a few more points, a few more things that you might have missed out on, or a few test cases which you might have not considered. uh, One thing I would like to highlight here is that your results should only contain data from your actual findings and not any assumptions. So basically, whatever data you find through any experiment in your um, any experiment or research, only that should be presented in your result. Then some of the examples are mentioned here. The examples you see here is the methodologies for a poster, though the above part, which is namely system block diagram or architecture, uh, could be assumed as a part of methods, but it is generally included different because this is much more used in an academic poster. These are not required much in a technical poster. I mean, sorry, in a research poster. And yeah, so as you can see, the first image, it has a flow chart, while the other one has bullets. So it is clearly visible that the first poster looks more neat and neat due to the flow chart being used. And there are sometimes exceptions where bullets as well are necessary. So here, and then moving on to results, here we see are some good examples of results where im- where images, figures, and tables are used along with a few screenshots and the software's screenshots of the software being used. And to end this, our last point for elements of a poster is conclusion and references. So, conclusion can be bulleted, therefore, it looks concise and precise. It should contain statements which are to the point and not too big. Bigger font can be used so it attracts the reader, though this is not necessary. And most important point is that it should compare your hypothesis with result, and that is the assumption that you made before your study with your actual results. This technique is generally used for finding any differences or errors in your study or experiment. And if your poster is based on any product, you can include applications as well, wherein you mention where and how the product can be used. Then comes references. References are nothing but basically resources you use to get information, like any website or a book or a technical paper. And if you have used someone else's work, you can include a reference for that too. The reference can be in the form of, if you have used a book, the reference can be in the form of a name of book, the publication name, the author's name, and the edition. And if you have used a particular technical paper, uh, you have to include the name of the paper, the title, the owner's name, and if possible the page number should also be mentioned. Then some this is an sample poster which we see here. You can see the conclusion I said earlier has to be in the form of bullets, but here it is mentioned in a form of a paragraph. This could be acceptable if your content is well framed and the sentences you used in the conclusion are apt to the point, nothing extra. And even if you see the overall poster, it is well attractive, it is well informative, and yeah. So that's all about the elements of a poster. Yeah, so sorry. I These are some examples for references. These are just an an overview where you can see how references should be made. And in the first image, the last three lines that you see with the medal figures on each of them, they are known as acknowledgements. It is good to be mentioned in an technical poster, but they are not necessary though. Yeah, then that's all about elements of a poster. We come to our next very important topic here, which is visual hierarchy. The definition here is the visual organization of elements within a design format to establish focal points based on their importance to the message to be communicated. Now, the definition you see here is in very technical terms, so let me simplify it for you. So, what it exactly means is that we should arrange information in such a manner that when we go through the entire poster, we find a relevant flow or a relevance in their order in which they are placed, so as in to communicate the message effectively. It is prioritization of content. Now, if you have a hard, suppose you have a hard time figuring out where a particular piece of information is there in a poster, it is more likely that your poster is missing a clear visual hierarchy. Then the third point states that color, contrast, texture and style, position, repetition, and size give a sense of visual importance. So for color, all I can say that is bright colors attract more attention than muted ones. Muted ones are the dull colors. And we'll be talking more about colors since we have a further classification ahead. And coming to contrast, it helps you highlight your key elements and key concepts. It is a very useful technique here. And coming to texture and style, texture and style is actually a part of regular poster. It is not used in a technical poster, but let me explain you what it exactly is. So texture is a part of a background where which helps to highlight your information, so you can distinctively see your information as well as background. And there is no strain to the eyes. And rich textures are more preferred than flat ones, because again, which I said, it helps to highlight your content. Position or alignment, so some information can be out of alignment. If you want to make it stand out, it should be a small piece, some sentences, maybe a few statements. Like if you want to put something important, you can keep it out of alignment and you can keep white space, that is blank space around it, so it seems unique and it attracts the reader's attention. Then coming to repetition, repetition is where if a particular content has similar styles or repeating styles, it indicates that the content is related. Uh, Moving on to size, we have talked about this earlier. The higher the font size, the higher the priority. Excluding conclusion, conclusions can either have a bigger font size or can be the same font size as the actual content. Then next slide, here are a few examples. In the first image that you see on the left side, you cannot exactly see the man with his hands above at once, but on the right hand side, it is clearly visible due to the color difference. And this is what a good visual hierarchy is. You have to make things stand out. Then the image at the bottom, image at the bottom contains two different sentences in different colors. So that sentence in red is clearly visible because it is a bright color, but since the sentence which you see in blue is not that visible because the red color has overridden the blue color due to its style, and it is a bright color, a warm color. So this is a very bad visual hierarchy. And now we'll come to why is visual hierarchy so important. So humans are visual creatures. Human brains are designed in such a way that if you find something attractive, you automatically assume it is good, and this is a key aspect while designing. It helps you persuade and impress the reader that the content you have is really good. And we see some equations here, that poster is equal to communication and design is equal to communication. Therefore, a good poster is equal to effective poster. This is an equation that you should always remember while designing. It is actually a key consideration. And moving on to elements of visual hierarchy, the first point is positive or negative space. So this positive and negative space, I'll talk about this. The space mentioned here is basically focusing either on the text or on the background. It is where suppose where either the text or the background is being highlighted, like contrast colors. So positive space is where the main focus is the image or the text, while negative space is where the main focus is the background. Positive and negative space are very good together. They should not be used individually, but they are very good together, and they create a sense of balance and rhythm. Coming on to contrast colors. For contrast colors, I can say that some contrast colors like black on white or yellow and blue are recommended. They look actually very good. And talking about dramatically contrasting colors are more eye catching. So by this, what I mean is that use colors that are complete opposites of each other. For example, you use black and white or red or green or blue and yellow. We'll be seeing this color wheel in the later slides. Then color. Color is a very important and effective tool which can improve as well as degrade a poster. So you have to use your color critically. Uh, then yeah. So here we see is an example of positive and negative space. The first image. Uh, This is less likely to be used in a poster, but it is good to be known since it is a part of designing. And the image below is the contrast on the color wheel. You can see high contrast colors, red and green, blue and yellow, and low contrast colors are red and violet or orange and yellow. So that's what I was talking about. The two websites that you see here are really good websites. They have a variety of color palettes. So this is very helpful in designing. You do not need to think of colors. You automatically get colors which are contrasting, which are matching. Then moving on to this further classification, which is warm colors versus cool colors. Warm colors actually give a sense of optimism and energy, while cool colors are something that tend to invoke feelings of calmness and soothing. This might seem not so important, but this does play a very important role in the appearance of your poster. Thus, the poster must contain a mixture of warm and cool colors. You can use individually each of the colors, but the colors, as you can see on the previous slide, the up from red up to yellow, these are all warm colors, and from green up to violet, all these colors are dull colors. I mean, they are cool colors. So if you use either of each color, you have colors in the same style, so your poster might not seem that attractive. How um, yeah. Then thus, the poster has to have a mixture of warm and cool colors. It is very important. Our one intriguing topic here is proximity. So proximity is basically bringing close things together, bringing things close. And if you suppose you include certain images or certain text in your poster, and they are related, then it is mandatory for you to keep them close so they can be recognized as one group. This gives a sense of better understanding and organized look. uh, and yeah, proximity comes help is a very helpful tool when you actually plot your results. Your graphs on various test cases should be placed close to each other so that the content can be easily framed, the content can be related. And then moving on to our last topic, that is classic font pairings. uh, yeah, one thing I would like to interrupt you. If you have any questions, please put them in the chat box below. I'll try and answer most of them. Then we'll start with our topic, that is classic font pairings. Uh, these are a few font pairs which you see. You can use them in your posters, but do not use too many fonts. You can use at max 2 or 3 fonts in your poster. The fonts mentioned here are professional fonts. And why is font pairing so important here? Because you're not just using maybe a pair of font. You have to use fonts that go in hand to hand with each other. And because if you use fonts that are competitive, it will be difficult for the reader to understand. And this may lead to that the reader might not actually read your poster, or might just quit reading it in somewhere between. So always use fonts that engage the reader. Ba- So that's all for today. You can ask any doubts if you have. Yeah, one thing I would like to say is that today we are done with the theory part. So for tomorrow, we'll have an actual hands-on experience on how we'll be designing a poster. We'll need laptops or maybe PCs for tomorrow. It is a very simple software which will, it's actually a website which we'll be using. It is really helpful. It is really easy to learn. There's nothing so much. So yeah, that's all. Guys, we have an upcoming technical poster presentation competition, which is the last date for the submission is 18th July, 6 p.m. So I encourage you all to participate in it. It is an individual competition. You have to design a poster on the title which we have given you, and it will be a brief introduction. You'll be describing your entire poster in about 2 to 3 minutes. It is nothing that big. It is actually very helpful for your you can use it in, it is an industry level knowledge. You can further use it for many things. This is not only for your junior college or undergraduation or post graduation. This is our Instagram page. We have uploaded posts for each of the competition that we'll be having. The topic highlighted here is the topic for the technical poster presentation competition. It is a very upcoming and famous topic right now, and I hope to see you all there.
Also, whatever you'll be learning here would definitely be implemented during the competition, so that if whatever you are learning, start implementing it. It would be better if you guys participate in the technical poster competition as well, so that you'll be getting both the certificates at the same time. Since it's a technical competition, that's why we have kept a topic which is currently in the market. So we need the solutions, right? We actually want solution to these problems that we are facing. It can be just the poster can just literally be about the meeting platforms that we can use, or how effectively we can use the meeting platforms that we have. So any a small topic, you just have to generalize it, and do a little bit of the research part, and put it down in the poster and explain the poster in the time span of 2 to 3 minutes. I think it should be a very good exercise for everyone who is attending this workshop as well. So whatever you are learning, you're directly implementing it, and it's a experience that is worth it. Of course, you will be meeting new judges who are who have done a lot of done a lot of competitions already, have judged at many other events. So what I personally feel is that everyone should participate in this competition. What is it? You just have to make a poster and you just have to present it. That's it. And it is a very important skill as an engineer or as a person to know how to present. So it can be a great learning experience for all the participants. So I urge you guys to participate in it, and think of this as an exercise for the workshop as well. If possible, try to participate. Try making your own posters, so that you'll be sure whatever you have learned will be fixed in your head, and you can implement it in the future as well. Plus, there are many competitions that your college might be organizing. You can directly participate in them as well. So, whatever things that you are learning right now, it can actually be implemented, and you can learn a lot more in the future as well. So, this is what I feel. And if you have not if someone who has joined very late today, or couldn't attend the whole presentation thing, you can directly go to our YouTube page. We have streamed everything live, it's there on the page. So whatever you have missed, just go check it out on the YouTube page. It's nothing major today, it was just minor slides. Tomorrow we'll be making a full-fledged poster from scratch, so that you get a perfect idea what exactly you guys will be doing. So that's it from our end for today. uh, Register for our events. There are other events as well. There's one more workshop on machine learning and image processing, which is taken by Abhiram, our technical secretary. And there's elevator pitch. If you're good at pitching, it's a definite thing that you can approach us for. uh, this is an entrepreneurial thing. If you're good at presenting your pitching your ideas, if you have any idea, it can be anything. So if you're good at pitching, just come to the elevator pitch. All the rules are given here. Just check out the Instagram page, you will be clear and thorough with what we are going to do. Also, the 2D animation workshop uh, has also been streamed live on our YouTube page, that is IEEE DBIT, all caps. So if you want to check that out, you can also check it out. It's a it's basics. Everything basic is being cleared, and you get an idea how 2D animation works. And of course, there's the machine learning workshop. So if you guys are interested, the machine learning workshop, we have extended the participation limit. So if you all are interested, please join us during that time. Okay, so that's it for our end. Thank you so much. See you guys tomorrow.